So here's Luke to talk about it. Nobody expected this to happen. The Bears were 6-point underdogs. We'll get into the X's and O's a little bit. How did they beat this Commanders team? Not to say this Commanders team is that impressive this year, Ivan.
Yeah, I think it starts with coaching tonight. And everyone has been hammering Eberflus, and rightfully so. They've looked disorganized. It's been an absolute mess. They've got locker room issues. But tonight, they dominated when it comes to coaching and schemes. And let's start with the X's and O's, like you said. We'll start with the pass game. I thought that early on here in this pass game, they saw something because we saw double moves right off the bat. This was the first play to DJ Moore. You see a little slant and go. You're thinking they're an aggressive DB. 3rd and 14 here. This is the perfect play for cover 2. They have an inside fade. They hold the corner down outside. Fields knows exactly what he's doing. And again, a short up, double move there. Ball was placed on time. Now the run game. This was bizarre. It's 3rd and 7 here, Jay. You see these D tackles? They're opening up the A gap. Usually that means there's some sort of pressure or a scheme coming. They go right up the field. They run a trap. 4 minutes later, the same thing. Look at this gap. Again, if you see this, it usually means games. Nope. Both of them rush straight up the field, leave the middle of the field open. First down. Again, you talk X's and O's. That's very, very strange to see that type of defensive scheme on a 3rd down. You get fooled once or tricked. You're like, okay, they've picked up on something. They go right back to it 4 minutes later. Those are demoralizing plays. You got a team 3rd and 7, back against the wall, and they can just run it right up the middle of the field. Jay, I was very surprised for the Commanders to come out like that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you've got to give credit to this coaching staff who've been getting killed.
Yes.
But tonight, they did their job.
There was a lot of talk that Eberflus could lose his job if they lost this game
Won't be tonight.
It's not happening. And DJ Moore really living up to that trade in the offseason. DJ Moore, man, a few words. And next, the Bears, as I mentioned, they'll host the Vikings. So you got a divisional matchup next week. Going to be tough for them. But Justin Fields, you alluded to it. We've been ripping him. Everybody's been ripping him. He was much better last week against the Broncos, even though they lost. And, man, he looked great on Thursday.
He looked great. He looked poised to me. There's been oftentimes you've seen Justin Fields, and I felt like there's almost a bit of panic in the way he's playing the game, kind of forcing things a little bit, where tonight, again, what I thought was great was that there was so much pressure on him. They need to win. It's a primetime game. And he just looked poised, and he knew where he was going with the ball. You know, DJ Moore was the guy tonight. We saw this early little slant and go, but there were so many plays, whether it was the quick game we're watching here, catch the ball, flip the hips, deliver it on time. This touchdown to Cole Kmet, again, right on the numbers, extremely accurate. And then in the moments where he needed to make the super athletic plays that he can, like jumping up, it's a bad snap, I'm going to, make something out of nothing. He was there, and that's what I loved about it was that in the past, let's call it year or so, I felt like we were just really relying, or he was, on his athletic ability.
For sure.
Where tonight, you saw him really kind of let the game come to him, take what was there. They had a great game plan, as we talked about, and then when he needed it, he kind of went into super athlete mode.
And you can see why he was drafted so high, because you mentioned the athleticism, we know about that, but he had a couple of balls where you're like, okay, this guy really can sling it out there.
That was probably out of everything he did, Jay, the most impressive was just the accuracy of those throws. Even that last one, to DJ Moore, obviously it's a bang-bang play, but he knows, like, hey, I got to get this a certain height in case this happens. The touchdown earlier was a perfectly thrown ball. It is a huge difference when you slow these things down and you realize that a lot of these catches are, 3-4 inches away from being pass breakups.
Yeah.
And he was on it.
Bears snapped that 14-game losing streak. Washington had a field goal attempt to make it a one-score game in the fourth. What was the feeling like on that Chicago sideline when they missed that field goal?
I think they showed it on the broadcast, and I felt so happy for the guys there. Because you're sitting there and you're worried, hey, it's about to be a one-possession game.
Absolutely.
And there's 5 minutes on the clock. Like, this is going to be a battle to the end. And they were really banged up in the secondary. You see Eberflus there at the big fist pump. You can read lips here on DJ Moore. Okay, we all know what came out of his mouth there. You're talking pure jubilation. I mean, we're dancing. Jay, I can't fathom what it would be like to lose 14 straight games.
Yeah.
When you lose one game, this isn't baseball, this isn't hockey where it's like, we got a game tomorrow. You got 17 total games.
Yeah.
I remember being in the locker room a lot, and if you lost one, or God forbid you lost two in a row, you're kind of looking around like, uh-oh, is the year in trouble? You know, whose fault is it? It's very easy to point fingers. You start scratching your head like, somebody's not going to be here next year. We can't afford to keep losing.
Yep.
To do it 14 times in a row, unbelievable. So just for, you know, the Bears to be able to pull that off, Dick Butkus passing away.
Passes away. The Chase Claypool stuff hanging over them.
I can promise you Matt Eberflus is sleeping good tonight.
Oh, man, he's a happy camper.